Okay, I see the notification. We are live on Facebook. So here we are, the West San Antonio Chamber and Brain Coach, Dr. Sunitha. Hello, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad that I know before you were addressing me with Trevino, Punjabi, and all that. I'm so glad you can just call me Dr. Sunitha, the Brain Coach. Love it.
It's just one of those days, you know. We all have some heavy days, and I'm glad that today's topic is what it is. On our flyer, it says, resurgence may bring caution, but the mindset and our goals continue. Why is that important? I think I'm dropping my phone here. I think in these trying times and with all the discussions that we have, it really weighs heavy on the mind. And where you set these goals up and you are on a particular track, you start to doubt yourself. I think now more than ever on what am I supposed to be doing? Where am I going? Our brain is on overload.
I think, Christy, you said something really important. What we're seeing like never before in our history, even the Great Depression, there was a consistency of the inconsistency. Like we knew during the Great Depression, and of course you and I weren't alive, but what we can understand when global things happen, there's sort of some knowledge of what it's going to be like. And this is not at all like that. No, this is something that every day is different. And what you said was very powerful. The brain can actually feel totally inadequate. So as soon as you think you got it figured out, and we talked about this last week, we're not dealing with an on and off switch. We're dealing with a dimmer or brighter or dimmer. What we've been talking to business owners and individuals about just in general is getting comfortable with the fact that it is week to week, maybe day to day adjustments to, and so again, thinking about a dimmer on and or off, a dimmer switch where we have to turn some stuff on high mode. We are now, for our staff, we're getting the face shields. I thought I'm never going to invest in the face shield, yada, yada. We're master. Now I'm thinking this is going to be for a while. Yes. And, you know, for my staff to wear masks all the time. So what is the alternative? Because this is, I'm getting used to the fact that I don't know what's next. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I also think that, so you're getting used to that and you're having to lead your staff through this, just as many of us as business owners are. But the staff, we have to remember the staff may not be watching every update every night, or now we've gone to twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at, 6:13 in the evening. They may not be watching Commissioner's Court and City Council like we are. Right. I have it running in the background.
Right.
No, because it's important.
Yeah, what I started doing, and Veronica was totally like in our discussions about what do we do, I run into the office and the girls are standing around and I tell them, and it's not a formal meeting. We're not going to be able to have, I don't think, formal meetings where, okay, can you be there at one? We've got to and I'm getting them involved, and we're having huddles in the office. We're like, okay, the numbers are up. We're over 5,000. This was yesterday in the city. And what do you girls feel? How do you, what do you want to do next? And we come to an agreement. So it's more impromptu, and I'm really taking them with me in the journey of making those decisions. And so then they know, well, we came up with that together. They own it.
Yes.
But I think the point is that's the dimmer, right? We have to adjust as it goes.
Right.
And we can't have these silos where they're whispering with each other, what is the doctor, why is she doing this?
Yes.
They're
Why is
real
she
clear.
doing it? I don't agree with it. Or I want to do it different. And then they don't communicate, which is a bigger failure across the board for everyone, for the
Right.
business, for your leadership, and for their progression, I think.
Yeah. And what's hard for me as a business owner is to shut my mouth and to listen to their suggestions. It's because I know everything. You can't know anything. I know how to do this, but I don't know how to do this like in this time.
Yes.
So I'm open to it. And then ultimately they know that I'll make the decision. Small things of how are we sanitizing to staggering patients. And I've dimmed the switch on, I've dimmed it on a lot of talk therapy at the office.
Mhm.
So we made an adjustment. We're doing more and more teletherapy. And I'm explaining to my patients and I'm explaining to them why I'm making this decision. And they're cool. They're like, okay, I understand. So they come in, they get out. But I think the point is that it was yesterday I decided that. And then earlier this week, I said, okay, we're going to do this. And then we took it like a few steps. And I'm like, no, we're going to go to all the way to step number 9 on this. But it was a moment to moment decision. So are we comfortable as business owners and as leaders? And I was not. Staggering patients.
Right. And I think I haven't been comfortable with it either. Both at the chamber and in my own business. It's because I have 2 different audiences, 2 different groups of people with different understandings. I have millennials here in the office, educated millennials that can make their own decisions, that obviously know quite a bit, maybe even sometimes more than me.
Yeah.
But to weigh all the facts with them and do more together, that's very helpful. And then when I go to a different group, which is a construction group, and talk to them, well, now I'm talking to an audience of men,
Right.
and they are leaders in their families.
Right.
And there's a lot more, I notice a lot more pushback there. Well, is this the right thing to do? And this is what you're asking me to do here at work, but there's some barriers and other challenges, customer challenges. Actually, we had a scare, and I think it's important to talk about that. We went to a customer's home that did not make us aware that they could have possibly been exposed to COVID.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have to urge to our listeners that if you even think that you've been exposed, don't bring over anyone to your house unless it's an absolute emergency.
Right.
Don't call for any carpenters or electricians or construction. You cannot do that unless it's an absolute emergency, because now you're putting even more families in danger with this. But there's a little trauma to the brain. We did have to spend at least an hour or more having a conversation about that with the staff to say, these are this is our plan of action. This is plan 1, this is plan 2, and then we'll have some contingency plans, but we will take care of each other.
The truth is, Christy, if we don't talk with each other, because it's in conversations like with you or one of my staffers that I realize, oh my gosh, right. If we have to ask the questions, we have to take temperatures. How are we going to protect ourselves? But I do think that we don't know. We really don't know what to do day to day. And we've got to communicate. We've got to have open lines with people. But even the idea of communicating, you would think it would be obvious that I should tell you. Well, I guess that's just obvious. I can't say why that. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, but there's some things that are not obvious that we should share, and but that is, if you're exposed, like I got that.
Yeah, because whatever we think is common sense we kind of have to come down about 10 notches. That's at least my rule.
Yeah.
You and I think it's common sense, but you and I may have traveled through some similar paths to get to this point. That's why we think it's common sense, but everyone else has not. And I think as I'm talking to people out in the community, other business owners, other leaders, there's a lot of concerns that things are falling apart around us. And I know we've talked about setting goals and thinking, taking our time machine and thinking down the road. And I think that's impactful with whatever we're planning for our business, where we need to be for everyone. But now we're interestingly enough, how the universe works. Now we're packing on more things. Now we had the passing of Mr. Floyd and the rallies and riots and all that just stacked up on top. And, you know, the brain is, you don't know how to feel anymore. I was at a loss for words when one of our members said, I am a white man that went to a very small school in a little town up in Northeast Texas. And we only had, I think he may have said, between 3 to 5 African-American students that went up in his class with him. And he said, we still today, we've been friends since elementary school, a group of them, about 20 or so. And they have 2 African-American gentlemen that are also in that group. And they have met regularly, either in person or by phone. Now they're doing it virtually. And he said, I have such a pain inside of me. And this is a well-educated leader.
Right.
And he says, it's like we just, our relationship disintegrated. Not that we're not friends, but now there are more unknowns.
Right.
And I could literally see that brain overload happening as he was describing the situation.
Right.
And he said, I have no loss of love for any of my friends. They are people that I would be with forever, but the atmosphere has made me doubt things. And then I have another member that has talked about there's been articles that have come out that have said, let's remember the crisis that our Asian Americans went through when they came to this country, and our Hispanic Americans. There were beatings and lynchings and that sort of thing. Why is it that we don't have a voice in this? And I think we all have a different perspective on that. I feel like we all have a voice, but we've all been a little quieter. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're bringing that up, because these are, talk about adding a challenge to a challenge. But I really believe, and what you're talking about is true. The way this is going to hurt us as a human race is if we don't talk. And just like the example that you gave, all of a sudden a barrier is there that wasn't there before. Mm-hmm. And it's an awkwardness. And the solution, because I'm very clear, history shows us this. The most detrimental thing that can happen is not just what's happening, it's our response to what's happening, because we are teaching generations, we're teaching our children from our attitude and our response. Yes. And what can we do? I mean, this is just happening, not just COVID and all of that, it's happening in different states and different countries, the rioting and what we're seeing. What we've got to remember is what we can do. And I don't want to sound idealistic, but it's true. The thing that I can do right now to have some sense of power is I need to communicate at the bus stop, wherever I'm at. If I see someone that is a different ethnicity and you don't know what to say, I don't know what to say. Yeah. Say, I don't know how to begin and just listen. But the way we're gonna turn this around, the way we're gonna get back what humanity was, or should be, is that we've got to talk to each other. And when you don't know what to say, I have no clue. I was asked to be a speaker on a predominantly African American church. I was on a conference call and the pastor asked me, would you talk about the brain? And I prayed and I thought, what am I gonna say? I'm Indian. So I have no, I'm Indian. I was born in Bombay, and I told her, I said, are you sure that I'm the one? She says, yes, because you're gonna be unbiased. But when I got on the call with these women, what I did, Christy, is I just let them tell me all of the feelings. I let them label it. They felt betrayed. They felt second class. A lot of the mothers were afraid for their sons, and so just listening. And then when we listened, I, what we talked about, reflected, and I said, you feel this and you feel that, and just helping people to feel gotten. Oh my God, somebody gets me.
Yes.
And all I did is reflect and listen. And that took the awkwardness out of the place, out of the space between us. And then I cried. I literally, I cried with them. And then I, talked about the science behind all of that's happening, the brain science. But the point is, we've got to turn this around. If you're listening to this, it's not a big thing. I'm not asking you to hold picket signs or to stand at a corner with brotherly love or anything.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
No, it's not. But what I am saying is that humanity is at risk right now, and the well-being of our planet and the future for our children. There should not be fighting in the streets. So the way to do that, the only thing we can do is stop and listen. And when you don't know how to listen, you don't know what to say, I don't know what to say, but be in communication. Don't put yourself at an at risk. If you're not comfortable reaching out to someone of a different ethnicity, if you're not, just don't do it. But if you can pick up a phone. So yesterday, I got on the phone with someone and I text her and I didn't know how she was going to respond. And I said, I don't know what to say. All I can say is that I love and respect you. And her text to me was, and this is an African-American woman, she said, that's enough.
Yeah.
And she said, and what I said is, I have no clue what to say, but I love and respect you. And I don't know what you're feeling. Yeah. And so that was enough. And a bridge was built. And that's how we're going to, guys, that's how we're going to create a future. Because right now, the predictable future, if we don't interrupt this, we have to interrupt. The predictable future is division.
Yes. And we can't have that.
And I don't want my kids growing up in that world.
Yeah.
I do not want my kids afraid that they're going to see a person of a different ethnicity in the store and they need to, no. So all I can do is one person at a time. And it does make a difference.
Absolutely. No, and this is exactly what we've been using as a precedence for COVID. Reach out to someone, ask if they're okay, connect with them. I realize that there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in people for many, many different reasons, but it's our responsibility as a community, as individuals, to step forward and do good, because between COVID and the race relations, this could really be detrimental. We have to all come to the table together and make positive change. And I strongly believe that making positive change can come in different forms. We are not all suited to march through downtown or go and pull down a statue or do something like that. We were all built to do something different. And those puzzle pieces coming together are what makes sense. So if you do something and I have contact somewhere else, and as we're all functioning, we can come together and make this big positive explosion. And that might seem very idealistic, and maybe some might say over optimistic, but it is real. We control the future. We control our destiny. And coming from a person that has suffered and has struggled, the mindset is everything. Those goals that we've been talking about every session, you and I, every week, about making those goals and seeing a future, we need to have that right now. And so, adding to your story, I had a conversation with a pastor from the East Side, very
Yes.
strong young man. Well, I won't say he's too young. He's probably around my age. He's probably approaching 50.
Right.
And I told him, after he very eloquently shared his pain, I said, with everything you've said today and everything that I see happening around us, I only see this as an opportunity to make a change, to really connect and make things happen. Things that we've wanted to do, things that were started 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. We can really make things change today. And he just kind of looked at me and he said, why would you be so optimistic? Opportunity. This is opportunity. And I did not expect that answer from a pastor.
Right.
Especially one with a big following. And I said, that's the way I see it. The young men and the young women, this future generation that sometimes in the workforce we complain about when we talk about business.
Right.
Oh, they question everything, and oh, they're always late, and oh, they don't understand, hard work and good ethics. But they do really understand things. They have no boundaries, these kids. They can create more amazing things than we can even imagine. They can create positive policy that will help everyone from the law enforcement side to just our regular neighbor. So we've got to be ready to listen and open ourselves up.
Yeah, I wanted to say something because I know that both of us, especially Christy, it can be accused of being idealistic. And I really want to appeal to the logical part of anyone that's listening. Let's put science to task on this. What we know at the quantum theory level, quantum physics is the simplest division of all reality. So in other words, when we study reality, the truth, quantum physics answers that question. So I really want to explain, Christy is not just idealistic. I want to get everyone, and look this up, okay, if you're interested, or, I'm always trying to answer my phone. Quantum physics, the science tells us that there is possibilities existing simultaneously for things to go good, bad, neutral. I was writing this out. I should, let's see. Okay,
Right
so
there.
what we know is perspective gives us our beliefs, and our beliefs give us our actions. Now, let me explain that again. If you think the world is doomed,
Yes.
and you're going to take actions based on that belief, and you're going to have results that reflect that belief. So let's say, let's not be idealistic. Let's be logical. Let's be science-based.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have the opportunity to believe with the perspective that the world is doomed and human beings should be not trusted. There's not goodness out there. Okay. Now, do we know that's totally certain? It doesn't, if we put it to the test of veracity, in other words, if we test the theory as scientists, we cannot emphatically say that the world is doomed and everybody's evil. The opposite of that, there's good, loving people out there that
Yes.
everybody wants good for humanity. We can't prove that either. Okay, so here's what quantum physics tells us. Whichever we choose, now we can't prove either one. The world is doomed. The world has a great beginning. Like Christy said, there's actually opportunity in this. We can't prove either one of them. Now, if you know either one of those beliefs with total certainty, then you're God and we need to have a different conversation, or you think you're God.
Yes.
Right? So
Right.
here's what we tell. As a scientist, you have a choice to believe that the world is doomed. In this case, we're talking about a belief the world is doomed, or the belief that everything's going to be great. Neither one of them passes the test. However, either one is going to give you the actions you're going to take. So since neither one of them passes the test of veracity, we cannot prove either one beyond the shadow. If I brought everyone into this room in the world and said, can you all agree that the world is doomed? Not everybody'd say. If I brought everyone in the world into this room and said, can you say it's going to be great, that this is what it's an opportunity? Nobody that wouldn't all agree either. So here's how to know. Which one of those beliefs aligns with the future that you want to create for yourself? In other words, you've got to make an active choice. Again, engaging that frontal lobe. And Christy, my knee-jerk reaction is, oh, can I say crap? The world is in trouble.
Sure, it's the internet. Let's just say it.
Yeah, it's, oh my God. Now, when I think that though, when I think the world is in trouble and, oh, fear overcomes me, I don't want to go out. I don't want to do anything sometimes. And I can't afford that thought. I literally cannot afford to think the world is doomed. I can't.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to remind everybody listening or that may listen to this, if, you know, I would urge those that are listening and watching to share this video with a friend, with maybe a friend that isn't happy or isn't doing well, because someone actually just asked me yesterday for a little bit of time. And I thought, okay, sure, I'm happy to share a little time with you. Why? And they said, because you're always happy and you don't miss things and you're doing so much and you're trying to make an impact in different topics. And, you know, that made me smile because I thought yesterday was not a good day. I almost got run over. Someone almost hit me on the highway. I'm teaching simultaneously teaching a teenager how to drive. I've missed a couple of deadlines, but these are things that you've taught me, Sunitha. I mean, we're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen, but that one moment in time is just that, a moment in time, and we have to kind of continue down that infinite track. This is a forever game, you know, that we're on, we have to think in larger terms. We can't just dwell on that moment.
And I could say, Christy, you're being idealistic, but I really want everyone to hear quantum and we're looking at science. What Christy is doing and what I ask you to do is choose your beliefs based on the life that you want to create for your children and for the people, for yourself, for your future. Here's the other choice. The world is doomed. If the world is doomed and people can't be trusted, and our Christie's effort and my effort and the way we connect with a person at a bus stop, or the way we connect with someone we're sitting next to or table away from in a restaurant, because you're practicing social distancing, but you're seeing a person of a different ethnicity at a restaurant. That step, we could say it doesn't matter. You know, it's not going to make a difference in the big scale. Okay, if you choose that belief, if you choose, you can totally choose that, but does that, is that the life, is that the world you want to live in tomorrow? So make it, it's logic. So I really want whoever's saying that I'm being ideal, Chrissy's being ideal. I want to be logical. I'm a scientist. And as a scientist, I'm going to hold to you that you need to choose your belief and take it through the Socratic method. Put your belief on the stand and question it. And just like Socrates, and this is what's used in law, and this is what lawyers do. They question the witness. They question someone who has an opinion. Well, your brain has opinions.
Yes.
It has a lot to say about what the world is, what's really happening. I'm asking you to suspend your beliefs and hold them to question and then align them with the world you want to create. Because your actions, the things you're going to do, are in direct connection with what you believe is happening in the world. And so if you can believe that humanity is going to make it through this, it has to make it through this. If you believe that, then what that means is the actions you take is you listen, you say you don't know when you don't know what to say, be humble about it, and just believe that humanity is going to make it through this. Because what's the default? Can you afford, Christy, to think we're doomed?
No, and I can't do that to my family. I can't do that to the people I'm around. We do fall off the wagon, and I'm going to say yes. Sometimes I don't feel good, and I am angry sometimes, but we have to move past that, because if enough of us get together, and that's what I'm hoping, in the single digits and the double digits, and then in the 100,000s and millions, if we're all traveling in that same direction, that makes the world a better place. We can really change things. So we do have to wrap things up. And I do want to remind everyone, as you go back to work, as you open your shop again, we know that the numbers are rising. We've had the updates from Judge Nelson Wolf and Mayor Ron Nirenberg from here in San Antonio. Same thing in other Texas cities. The numbers are rising. So please wear your mask. And if you didn't know, there is a new order that is being put in effect in Bexar County. So businesses, the state it moved down from the state to the county to the city. Businesses are now responsible for having to wear the masks and requiring their customers, their patrons, to wear a mask. This is not a comfortable place, because I have been to a few, I've been to the grocery store, I've been to a couple of restaurants, and guests are not wearing their masks as they're entering and exiting. So now it's your responsibility as a business owner, and you will be fined if someone walked in, an official, and saw that happening. So it's another big weight to carry, but this can be done. There is a way to do it. There are protocols that are written up. You have to make sure that you write them to your specs for your business, and make sure we stay safe. I mean, I know, Sunita, when I've gone to your office, I have to stop in the bathroom before. I wash my hands, then I come in and I sanitize, and then we sit down to talk.
Right.
And we sit down to talk 6 feet apart or more.
Yep.
And it works.
It does. It works. And we take temperatures too. We've added, every day we're adding, because we have to remember the dimmer. And so, right, I want to end with awkward silence is going to be a barrier. And that's what's happening. People don't know what to say. Please overcome that by just saying, I don't know what to say. Right? Don't let the awkward silence, because the awkward silence that's happening in our culture and in humanity is actually going to continue to cause the rift, continue to rip us apart. So watch out for that awkward silence, and I ask people, what do you want? Are you Black? Do you want me to African American? What is it? Please tell me so you're comfortable. How would you like me to be referred? So I'm Indian. You can call me Asian. I just, it's all good. But you can ask me. Ask me. I'm a brown woman, and where that comes from. So all of that. Just talk to people. I just wanted to end
Yes.
with that. Um, Please don't let the silence continue. Talk about it. Christy, I'm so glad to have our friendship that I called you in the morning. I'm like, we need to talk about this. And thank you for recognizing that we do need to talk about this, that it's not just about the resurgence, but it's what's also part of that, which is humanity right now.
No, absolutely. I think having these conversations are going to be what brings us closer together, what helps us all understand our experiences, and it puts us in a better place. And we have to remember that we're all people first and foremost.
Yes.
So, and we can respect each other
And the
as
last
we
time
go
I
out
checked,
there in the world.
your blood is red and mine is red too.
Mhm.
We
That's
all
right.
bleed the same color.
Yes. We have
Thank
to
you,
remember that.
everyone.
Oh, and you know what? And I also want to say, because I know you've done this many times, if there are businesses going back in and they're seeing that awkward silence or seeing breakdowns in your team, you will make arrangements so they can reach out to you to do maybe some team building,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And have those conversations, get some goal setting for the business at large. I mean, that's always a big help.
Yes, and definitely. And you can call me at 210-884-1200. I now have staff back helping me answer phones, but they know when the
Yay.
doctor needs to take the call, I do. And I'm going to show you guys, this is my Latina sister, Christy. But you know what, Christy? Do you prefer me to call you a Latina, Hispanic? How do you want me? You're my sister. How do I address you as my sister? What would you prefer?
I I have no preference. I have always leaned towards Hispanic, but I
Okay.
have no preference. I've done my genealogy studies, so I know it's very vast. There's a lot in there.
And I swear you've got to have some Asian Indian in you because you look Indian to me. But so and that's just what I just did. I wanted to acknowledge my sister Christy, but I didn't know Hispanic, Latina, so I just asked. And so she likes a Hispanic, but she doesn't mind either way. So thank you, my Hispanic sister, for sharing this call with me. And thank you for helping me and helping the community possibly break some barriers in communication. Next week, I would really like to go back to interviewing people that are using this mindset. I'd like to, let's take a look at where we can make the impact, and we're going to have some surprises, hopefully next Thursday, lined up to bring on the
Yes,
interview, relevant individuals that are doing it.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So don't forget to join us on June 25th at 12:15 here on Facebook Live, both at the Brain Coach and at the West San Antonio Chamber
And the
Facebook
virtual
page.
networking event that you're doing is?
That is also on the 25th. No, 24th. Sorry, the day
24th,
before.
okay.
The 24th. We will have that at 3 o'clock. And all of our virtual networking events for business owners, managers, leaders, directors, that's been very helpful because we're talking about things like this, changes in our community. You know, we can talk about policing, we can talk about needing the masks, we can talk about what things we need to implement for our employees. All of that is on the table. So we welcome anyone to go to the westsachamber.org website. You can register or just give us a call.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. I will be on there. I've gotten so much benefit from those virtual networking events. Thank you, Christy and SA Chamber, West Chamber, for doing that.
Absolutely, Sunita. Well, then we will see you next week, and we will see everyone else next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.